This time last year, in this garden space, in these raised beds, I grew over 200 pounds of sweet potatoes. That is right. And the question is can I do it again? I think that I can, but I want to invite you on this video as we talk about growing sweet potatoes and how I plan to beat or maintain my record of 200 pounds of sweet potatoes in one given year. Enough sweet potatoes to last us literally the whole year. And so if you have had trouble with growing sweet potatoes, if you want to know how I did it and you want to know what to do, this is the time to plant your sweet potatoes right now when you see this video in June. And I'm going to show you exactly what to do and how we're going to maintain or beat our record. I'm going to also talk about the mistakes that I see gardeners make when it comes to sweet potatoes. So if you're brand new here, my name is Barbara. I live in the state of Tennessee. I'm in zone 7B, so I'm in the South. And in the South, let me just speak for myself. We love sweet potatoes. I love sweet potatoes. I buy sweet potatoes all the time from the store before I started growing sweet potatoes. And last year was the first year ever that I actually grew enough to last us an entire year. At the time of this video, y'all, I still have sweet potatoes left over from our harvest that we harvested back in October. In October, we harvested 200 pounds of sweet potatoes, and we are still eating off of those sweet potatoes. We have a root cellar, and so we have cured them and stored them, and every week I just go out there and I pull 3 or 4 for the week, and I still have about 20 left. So I may literally have enough to last me for the rest of this gardening season until I can harvest sweet potatoes again. So if you are new, please say hello down in the comments. Let me know where you're coming in from, what city, state, or country, and so I can say hello back. And if you've been here before, and if you saw my video last year of those 200-pound harvests, then go ahead and say yes in the comments. But also, I'm going to pop that video right up here for you to go back and watch if you have not seen it. Now, I want to be honest. I have been growing food for the last 5 years. This is my 6th year gardening, and my first 3 years of growing sweet potatoes was not a fail. I did grow sweet potatoes, but the yield was very, very low. If I had to guess, because I don't even think I was weighing it back then, but if I had to guess, it might have been 10 or 15 pounds, literally. So I did have sweet potatoes, but they were not in abundance. But last year, number one, I tripled the amount that I normally do, but the yield was unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. And I grew them right here in my backyard among 3 raised beds. My raised beds are 4x8, nothing special, right here in my backyard. Now, when I first started growing sweet potatoes, my first time I grew them in my high tunnel. And one of the mistakes that I see a lot of gardeners make that I made myself is planting your sweet potatoes too close and crowding them in. Sweet potatoes are a root crop, meaning they grow below the ground. And so they need space to grow. And so as we plant today, I'm going to kind of walk you through what your spacing should look like for your sweet potatoes. The second mistake that I see people make when it comes to sweet potatoes is making sure that they leave them in there long enough. Again, I made that mistake too. I was pulling my sweet potatoes way too soon, so they were small, and because I had so many crammed in one space, they were also small and I had very few. I have learned over the years to space them properly. And then the second thing is to make sure that you let them mature to their maturity date. Okay, I was planting my sweet potatoes in May and I was harvesting like at the end of August or September. That is too fast, okay? You will see if you watch the video that I did last year of me harvesting, I planted those potatoes the 1st or 2nd week of June, and I did not harvest them until October the 15th. Sweet potatoes take 100 to 110 days to maturity. So when I was pulling my sweet potatoes, I was pulling them way too early. I was pulling them at like 70 or maybe 80 or 90 days. And so they still had like 20 to 25 or 30 more days that they could have been growing, okay? And so when it comes to sweet potatoes, this is the time of year that you want to plant your sweet potatoes in the month of June, at the earliest the end of May. I had someone tell me just this weekend that she planted her sweet potatoes at the beginning of April. That's way too soon. Way too soon. Sweet potatoes love heat. They need to be able to go through the long heat and growing season. And when it comes to maturity, again, they take a while. And so that's why you want to make sure that you give yourself enough time. Now, if you are in a growing zone that does not allow you to grow sweet potatoes, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. But if you're in the South in zone 7, 8, 9, and probably even 10, you could probably grow sweet potatoes if you have 110 days that you can grow them. Again, they do love heat. and they need to be spaced properly, and they need to stay in there the right amount of time. So with sweet potatoes, I'm going to plant these now, and I'm not going to harvest them until right before my first frost. My estimated first frost is usually around October the 20th, and so I'm going to let them go up until that point to make sure that they are completely mature. And if you saw the video, y'all, we harvested potatoes that were absolutely huge, okay? So the third thing that I see as a mistake that people make when they're planting sweet potatoes is fertilization, right? A lot of people are giving too much nitrogen. I mean, nitrogen is like the go-to fertilizer, but I've talked a lot about, one, knowing what is in your soil and what your soil needs, but also knowing the needs of the plant. Sweet potatoes are a root crop, so the nutrient that is responsible for root development is phosphorus, okay? They need a good blend of phosphorus and potassium. If you feed your sweet potatoes too much nitrogen, you're going to have a lot of beautiful green leafy leaves on top, but your sweet potatoes down below the ground are going to be small and or non-existent, okay? So you want to make sure that you are not feeding your sweet potatoes a high mixture of nitrogen and then lower in potassium and phosphorus. You actually want your phosphorus to be higher than your nitrogen, okay? So those are the three things that I see people making mistakes on all of the time, and the top three things when it comes to sweet potatoes. But I would love to know from you. Put down in the comments below, what has been your issue with sweet potatoes, if you've grown them, if they have not been big, or kind of what happened. And let's see if one of those three are the issue. Did you put them too close together? Did you fertilize them the wrong way? And did you pull them too soon? Okay, one of the habits that I want you to get in as a gardener is always notating and writing down when you put stuff in the ground. If you're like me, you're planting a lot of stuff, and it's hard to remember, did I put that in at the end of May or the 1st of June? It becomes really important, especially for crops like this, right? Because let's just say my first frost ends up being before October the 20th, and let's say it's the 1st of October. At least I know when I planted it, and I know, hey, it's only at 90 days maturity versus it may be at 105 days maturity. It gives me a better sense of what I can expect and what should be when I actually harvest it out of the soil, okay? So I want to talk about sweet potato slips and actually planting sweet potatoes. Now, you can buy sweet potato slips at your local nursery. You can actually grow your own sweet potato slips. I have never actually grown my own sweet potato slips. I've heard that it's easy. People have encouraged me to do it. It's just something that has not been on my list to do with all of the other things. Right now, I don't find any joy or pleasure in trying to grow my own sweet potato slips. Plus, I want to make sure that I have variety, right? And so for me, I buy my sweet potato slips, but certainly if you grow your own, you can certainly do that, or you can buy them. Now, the plants that I got that we are planting in the ground are from Sprout Mountain Farms. They are an organic sweet potato slip, and we're planting 4 different varieties of sweet potatoes. So that is the exact same as last year. I'm doing the exact same varieties as last year. Now, I want to show you what a sweet potato slip looks like, so that way you know what you're looking at and what end goes where and what you're supposed to be doing. Okay, here is a sweet potato slip and what it looks like. This has a leaf on it, but I will tell you, especially if you go see my video from last year, my sweet potato slips were looking real bad, but your girl got 200 pounds of sweet potatoes. So if your sweet potato slips do not have leaves, or it's just a stem, go ahead and put it in the ground anyway. It's gonna grow leaves. I'm telling you, most of mine did not have leaves last year, and they grew anyway, and they grew just fine. So don't be, and I was all nervous and for no avail, okay? This one actually has a leaf. You can see this is the root part down here. So this is the part that you're gonna stick in the ground. If for some reason yours does not have a leaf, you can look and see where the roots are, and that's the part you stick in the ground, and the top part will just kind of be like a clean cut, so to speak. And you want to put it in the ground about 4 to 6 inches, okay? There are some leaf nodes, if you can see. I don't know if it'll show up, but there's some leaf nodes along the sweet potato. You want to see if you can get it down a couple of leaf nodes if possible, because those leaf nodes are going to actually grow roots, okay? And so make sure that you have it inserted deep enough. Now, let me take you back in terms of footage, and let me show you me actually planting the sweet potato slips, because I actually came out and did it on a day in between rain showers. And so let me walk you through planting the sweet potato slips, and I'm gonna go over how deep and how your spacing should be when planting sweet potatoes and give you some more slips. So let's take a look at me actually planting my sweet potato slips in the ground for 2026, trying to get to 200 pounds of sweet potatoes. So I prepared my bed. I added in a new layer of compost. I added in some azomite, which is a trace mineral. And then I also added in some bone meal, which is high in phosphorus for that root development. And then I'm just going to dig a trench. So first, let me tell you the types of sweet potatoes that I'm doing. And so I have 4 different varieties, the same that I did last year. And so what I planted in the ground at first was Kerrigold, which is by Baker Creek, and I'll come back and tell you about that one because we had a little bit of a disappointment. But the other ones that I'm planting are Bayou Bell, Evangeline, and Beauregard. Those are the 4 varieties, and those are the exact 4 varieties that I did last year. Now I'll tell you, every sweet potato that I pulled that we've eaten has tasted wonderful. They were all good. I did not know which one was which because as we harvested them, they were all kind of mixed in. It was really hard to keep them separate. But I will tell you they all tasted good. But I think that the Kerrigold was probably my favorite just because it looked a little bit different. And I could tell that that one was something different than the rest of them. But I get to planting, and the first thing that I see is that my Kerrigold slips don't look good at all. And I'll tell you a little bit later what happened with those seeds, but I was highly disappointed because they were the most expensive. But I just dig a trench and I plant my sweet potato slips about 12 to 18 inches apart within the row. And then in between rows, you want to do about at least 24 inches or 2 feet. That's just to give you adequate spacing. Obviously, if you have more space, you can do more spacing than that, but I would definitely not do less than 12 inches if you want to get some nice sized potatoes. And as you can see here, you can't really even see the leaves on these. It's really just slips, roots with no leaves, and that's okay. I did this last year, and my sweet potato slips last year looked even worse than these, and they performed beautifully. I grew 200 pounds of sweet potatoes, and so don't worry that it doesn't look great. Don't worry that it doesn't have leaves on it yet. So at the time of this video, when I'm planting these, they look just like this. They're barely hanging on, but I get them in the ground anyway, and I guarantee you they will bounce back and they will have leaves. And a matter of fact, I'm going to show you towards the end of this video about what they look like about 4 or 5 days after this. Okay, so we have all of our sweet potato slips in the ground. So the one thing that I'm bummed about is my Kerrigold. So with my Kerrigold, those are the ones that I got from Baker Creek, and they are like premium. You get 5 slips, and it's like $18. I did it last year as an experiment. Y'all, they were absolutely phenomenal. Now, every potato tasted good because by the time we harvested and they were all together curing, I could not tell which potato was which. Everything was good. When I say everything, everything was good. But there was one that was exceptional. And I'm pretty sure it was the Kerrigold based when I go back and look at the picture and I see what the inside of the flesh looks like. So I ordered my Kerrigold about a month and about 6 weeks ago because I was trying to make sure I did not miss it because they go out of stock very, very quickly. They were on my counter and y'all, they just have not done well. So what you saw me plant in the ground, the slips looked really, really bad, but I decided to plant them anyway. Now I bought 5 and 2 of them completely died on my counter. So I only had 3 to plant. I want to show you today when I came back out here because now they've been in the ground now for about 5 days and they are just toast. And my heart is so sad because they're out of stock. I've been checking and checking every single day. I have them an email to notify if they come back in stock, but at this late in the season, they probably won't come back in stock, which makes me very, very sad. And so I am missing 5 key plants that I had last year that I'm not going to have this year because I think simply I bought them too soon because they should have been able to stay on my counter, but I think just with me traveling, being out of town, I tried to change the water like every 4 or 5 days, but they just did not survive. Versus the ones last year did a little bit better, but last year I did not buy them 6 weeks ahead of time. They were only on my counter for like maybe 2 to 3 weeks, just like the other ones. And so I think it was just too long. And so those 5 definitely are a big part of my 200-pound harvest for sure. So we don't have those. I'm praying and hope they come back in stock. But if not, then I'm going to look and see about ordering me maybe 5 to 10 more slips to fill up the rest of the second bed. Last year, I had 3 beds of sweet potatoes. This year, I only have 2. I did my spacing a little bit different this year. Again, trying to get a certain variety in one bed that may or may not work against me. My spacing is still good, but I did err on the side of the smaller spacing versus the larger space. So they're about 12 inches apart instead of 18 inches apart. So we're going to see what happens. But again, you don't know until you do it, and that's all part of it. But let me show you how they're looking just 5 days later from me planting the sweet potato slips, and I'll show you exactly what they're looking like right now. Okay, so you can see leaves on many of them that absolutely did not have leaves when we planted them in the ground. So that is definitely a positive sign. And again, yours will do the same thing. So even if you put them in there without leaves, they will grow leaves. This is the second bed, and you can see that we have leaves on a lot of these as well. Some still don't have leaves, but I feel confident. But y'all, I am so bummed that I am literally down 10 Carigold plants, like, that just did not do anything. And so, yeah, I'm so disappointed, and I think it's too late for me to get any more sweet potato slips. So we'll see what happens. So you can see they're looking pretty good for 5 days in. Some of the ones that did not have leaves actually have leaves now. I still have a few that don't have leaves. Now, we have had a couple of days of rain, which I'm sure has helped. I actually, did fertilize and everything when I put them in the ground. And so far they are doing good. But I do want a few more. I went to the nursery today to see if they had some sweet potato slips. That's not really my preference, but I would take it. But I think I'm just going to go online and see if I can find me 10 more slips, and if I can get them here quickly, to go ahead and put them in the ground to complete the bed and to give me a chance at making sure that we have enough sweet potatoes to last a whole year. Now, one of the things that I do is I do try to grow the crops that we love and eat. I try to grow enough of that crop to last a year. I do that with tomatoes, with peppers, with purple whole peas, with collard greens, with kale, with spinach. I have done it with many different crops. And so it is definitely possible. You have to know the varieties that you need to grow and that grow well in your area. You have to make sure that you give it the right conditions in terms of spacing, fertilization, days to maturity, the 3 things that we talked about, and making sure that you have a plan for, if you're going to grow that much, what are you going to do with it, right? And so one of the reasons why I love to grow sweet potatoes and why I grow them in abundance is because we eat a lot of sweet potatoes. I spend money at the store buying sweet potatoes. And so it makes sense for me to grow it myself, especially because I can grow it organically. Because at the store, I'm not buying organic sweet potatoes, right? The second thing is sweet potatoes are so versatile. And so I have used them for sweet potato pie, sweet potato French fries, roasted sweet potatoes. I've used them for like a sweet potato souffle or casserole, sweet potato hash, creamy sweet potatoes. There's so many different things, and it's high in nutrients and high in vitamins and beta carotene and all that. So it's not only just a crop that you can grow, but it has multiple uses and it stores well. So when you are allocating space in your garden, now for me, I have quite a bit of space. Let's just say you don't have as much space, but if you have one raised bed that you can dedicate to sweet potatoes, if you like them, if you're spending money at the store, then it is a crop that will do well for you if you understand how to grow it, and it's going to keep on giving in the sense that it stores really well. Y'all, mine have been in my root cellar for the past 9 months, and they still are looking good, right? Now, you may not have a root cellar, but if you have a cold room or a basement or something like that, even if they don't store 9 months, if they store for 5 or 6 months, y'all, imagine growing a crop that you already buy at the store. Now you've grown it organically, and you have it for 5 or 6 months, and you have many things that you can do with it. That is what you call versatility, and that is what you call a great crop selection, okay? So I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, what struggles have you had with growing sweet potatoes? If you've ever grown them, tell me what If in this video you found out, oh, I must be doing that wrong, let me know, and let me know what questions you have that I did not answer. But I want to know if you're cheering me on, if you're rooting for me to grow 200 pounds of sweet potatoes or more this year. And y'all pray that I get me some more sweet potato slips, right? Pray that I get some more. Now, this was a year I learned a lesson, is that I should have ordered a little bit more than what I thought I needed. But y'all, all I did was the same order I had last year, I just hit reorder and repeat. I did not bank on me losing those Kerrygold slips. And out of all the ones to lose, those are the ones that's the most expensive. But let me tell you something. They were well worth it. They were well worth it. It produced an abundance and they tasted absolutely amazing. And so if you want to venture out and try it next year, put it on your list. Kerrygold from Baker Creek. The other ones, again, if you missed it in the voiceover, the other ones that we're doing are Bayou Belle, Evangeline, and Beauregard. Beauregard I've grown for the last 5 years. It's a constant. The Bayou Belle I really, really love. The Evangeline was good. They all did great. So those are the 4 varieties that we're doing. We have them in the ground. Now we just wait. We fertilize, we take care of them, and we wait until right before our first frost. Now, if you have not subscribed to the channel, this is a great time to go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss the harvest in October when we harvest those sweet potatoes. Because if you're like me, you're going to be wondering, okay, how many pounds did she grow? Can we beat last year's record? That is the question, and I'm hoping that we can. I hope that this video was helpful for you. I hope that I answered some of your lingering questions about how to grow sweet potatoes successfully. But if I did not, leave it down below, and I will meet you in the comments. Remember, y'all, this is all a journey, but let's grow together. I'll see you next time, friend. Thanks so much for stopping by our channel. And if you would, take a moment and go to our website at livingfoodsfarm.com. You can see all of the latest YouTube videos in case you missed one. You can subscribe to the channel, sign up for our email list, as well as join our YouTube membership. Also, we have many items for sale under the shop tab. You can go to kitchen or to skin and body, depending on what you're looking for. We source many of the items right here from things that we grow on the farm, or we buy from an organic source. We also have digital resources as well that you can instantly download. We have everything from seed starting calculators, how to build healthy soil, as well as 2-hour classes, replays on sourdough, canning, and fall gardening, and how to start your garden for the very first time. So go take a look, see if there's anything that you would be interested in, and thank you so much again for stopping by our channel.